If you've ever poured a bag of sand into your potting mix hoping to save a dying succulent, only to watch it get worse, you need to hear this before you touch another container this season, because doing it wrong can suffocate roots, waste your fertilizer, and kill the exact plants you're trying to save. Here's the truth most gardeners never get told: sand is not a magic drainage fix. It's a precision tool, and like any tool, it only works when you understand exactly what it's doing underground. Today we're breaking down when sand actually helps your potting soil, when it quietly destroys it, and the exact ratio you need to mix it safely, whether you're potting one small succulent or refreshing an entire patio's worth of containers. Let's start with the plants that genuinely benefit from a sandier mix. Succulents, cacti, and many drought-loving natives evolved in conditions where water disappears fast, and their roots are built to handle short bursts of moisture followed by long dry stretches. When you grow these plants in a standard, moisture-retentive potting mix, water lingers around the roots far longer than the plant is designed to tolerate, and that's when root rot creeps in silently before you ever see a wilted leaf. Adding the right amount of sand recreates that fast-draining environment these plants actually crave, letting water pass through instead of pooling at the base of the container. But here's the part almost nobody warns you about: the moment you add sand, you change the entire behavior of that container. A pot that used to hold moisture for 5 or 6 days might now dry out in 2, which means your watering schedule from last month is now completely wrong. This is the single biggest mistake gardeners make after adding sand: they mix it in once, walk away, and keep watering on the old schedule, leaving plants chronically underwatered and stressed without realizing the soil itself is the reason. Now let's talk about the sand itself, because not all sand belongs anywhere near your containers. Fine, powdery sand, the kind you'd find at a playground or a beach, will do the opposite of what you want. Instead of creating air pockets, it fills the tiny gaps between soil particles and compacts down, choking roots of oxygen and making drainage worse, not better. What you actually want is coarse, washed horticultural grade sand with larger, gritty particles that hold their shape and physically prop the soil open. If you're not sure whether what's in your shed qualifies, do a simple pinch test, rub a small amount between your fingers, and if it feels gritty and almost sharp rather than smooth and silty, you're on the right track. Let's get into the actual ratios, because vague advice like add a bit of sand is exactly how containers end up either too dense or too dry. For succulents and cacti in a standard container, mix 1 part coarse sand to 3 parts potting soil, and consider adding 1 part perlite or coarse bark into that same blend for even better long-term aeration. So for a typical 10-quart batch, that works out to roughly 6 quarts of potting soil, 2 quarts of coarse sand, and 2 quarts of perlite or bark, all combined thoroughly before you plant. If you're refreshing a large raised planter or several containers at once, simply scale that ratio up proportionally, keeping the sand at no more than 25 to 30% of the total mix by volume. Going heavier than that risks tipping the balance from well draining into barely holds water at all, which is a different problem entirely. Once your sandier mix is in place, your feeding routine needs to shift too. Sand adds zero nutritional value on its own, and because water moves through so quickly, liquid nutrients wash out of the container faster than in a dense, organic rich mix. To compensate, dilute a balanced liquid feed at half the normal concentration, roughly 1 teaspoon per gallon of water rather than the standard 2, but feed every 7 to 10 days instead of monthly, giving the plant steady access to nutrients without overwhelming it in a single dose. This small adjustment prevents the common cycle of underfed, stunted growth that so many gardeners blame on the plant itself when the real cause is simply a faster draining medium doing exactly what it was designed to do. There's also a physical side effect worth planning for: sand is heavy. A container that felt easy to lift before can become surprisingly hard to move once sand is mixed in, especially in larger pots. If you're working with anything you'll need to relocate seasonally, factor that weight in before you commit to a heavy sand ratio, or consider using more perlite in the blend instead, since it delivers similar drainage benefits at a fraction of the weight. So should you add sand to your potting soil? If you're growing succulents, cacti, or other plants built for arid conditions, the answer is a confident yes, as long as you use coarse, clean sand at the right ratio and adjust your watering and feeding to match. If you're growing moisture-loving plants like ferns, leafy greens, or anything that prefers consistently damp roots, sand is the wrong tool entirely, and you're better off leaving that rich, water-retentive mix exactly as it is. Getting this right isn't about guessing, it's about matching the medium to the plant and staying consistent with the adjustments that follow. Do that, and you'll watch containers thrive that used to struggle season after season. If this saved you from a mistake you were about to make, hit subscribe, share this with a fellow gardener who still thinks more sand is always better, and we'll see you in the next one.